We are starting the meeting at 7 p.m. If everyone would rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Okay, wait a minute a second. Trustee Bellinger? Here. Trustee Monkowski? Here. Trustee Guerrero? Here. Trustee Meissen?
Here.
Trustee Foley?
Here.
Trustee Colley?
Here.
President Pridemore?
Here.
Treasurer Stein? Here. Clerk Addis? Or
Here.
Attorney Addis?
Here.
Clerk Wilson.
Motion.
I'm sorry about that.
Okay. Approval of the agenda. I have one thing to change slightly under attorney items. Planning Commission amendment to comply with the Planning Enabling Act, not compensation. We're not changing any compensation on it, just so that the wording complies with the Planning Enabling Act. And did anyone have anything else?
For the public hearing millage, yep, it says millage in there, never mind. It's the budget and millage. I just wanted to make sure they were both in there.
Okay. So we're good?
Yep, we're good.
Motion's in order?
I make a motion. Support. Trustee Monkowski.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing, there is none. Public comment on the agenda, Trustee Meissen. Is there anyone? Do we have anyone on the?
Brian?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, we actually, so for Mr. Dilbert, we have you on the line here. I see you. Did you have anything that you wanted for public comment? If you did, if you could please use the raise hand or go live with your camera. We'll give you a couple seconds. Okay.
Okay, we're good, okay. Approval of the minutes. From the January 12th meeting, I have one change, and that was under closed session. Last month, Rachel, could you kind of explain?
I used the copy and paste to make sure the formatting stays the same, and I didn't edit it properly when I got to the end, so it says Dydic Security under closed session, and I just need to remove that. So it should not say that, it just said to come out of closed session, and you just remove that one line.
Any other changes? Motion in order?
So moved.
Support.
Been moved and supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Who was the supporter? Okay. Consent agenda.
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Been moved and supported. Roll call, please.
Trustee Meissen?
Yes.
Trustee Foley?
Yes.
Trustee Monkowski?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Colley?
Yes.
President Pridemore?
Yes. Okay, under president's items. The picture gallery, I would like to ask council to approve an amount of around $300. We have historical photos that I found of the old part of the village that has a powerhouse and a creamery and Division Street, how it used to look. And add those along with pictures of the past village presidents to create maybe more of a picture of New Haven the way it was. There's some great historical photos out there. And Shutterfly is always running deals where I can make copies for not much. So with your permission, I'd like to create a photo gallery of historical photos and past presidents and make a nice display. Apparently the administration building at the school, they have a very nice photo gallery. It was curated very nicely. So I'd like to see something like that. So anybody that visits our hall can get a sense of New Haven and the people who have served the community. If that's okay. And I think about 300 if it costs more. So does that sound like an idea? Does anyone have any ideas about what we can do with the gallery or?
Do we have an idea on placement?
Yeah,
What are you talking?
Doesn't matter to me.
No, I'm saying placement with you placement.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's hard to hear through the plexiglass. You know, were you planning on putting it back here or in the hallway? Or?
Well, I think in the hallway, people that come into the hall would be able to see. More people come down the hallway, and they would be able to see it. Where, you know, setting it up in the working space of a current council, I'm not sure that that's appropriate, but, you know, I think we would get more people to see our history and the people that serve the community if we set up a gallery wall when they first walk in. Now, I just had Mr. Kincaid here, who was relatively upset, even though I showed him, I created a smaller frame with all of the wonderful achievements William Kincaid served for the community. He served several terms as a Lennox Township trustee. He served in New Haven. He ensured that Centennial Cemetery was open to everyone. He had some remarkable accomplishments, and I thought, well, we could make that and put that next to his photo to celebrate his service to the community. Well, Mr. Kincaid was not happy with that. So, yeah.
If I may, Mrs. President, he was here at the last meeting
Yeah.
and had asked to talk about, it further. And when we came out of closed session, we were not here. So just for informational purposes, I did take the time to get his phone number, and I did call him and explain to him what the plan was. And so he was aware even before he came tonight. Because I didn't want him to have to wait a whole month to find out what was going on. I felt that was the right thing to do because it's important to him.
Yes.
So just so you're aware and everyone else is aware, I did take that
That's why
choice upon myself. I thought it was the polite thing to do. He
Well,
should be.
I showed him the extra information that I had printed up and put in a frame, and he still was not happy. So, I think we should celebrate the history of our community and the civic leaders that worked, the public servants that worked for our community. But I'm sorry, no one's going to dictate where this thing or how this thing is going to be formatted, because we're doing it as a celebration, and you're not going to make every single person happy. But I think this is kind of important for our identity in the village. So, and again, if you guys have any ideas about what you'd like to see up on the wall, we can. It's fluid, but I think we should put historical photos out there as well as the pictures of the past president. That display ran out of room. It stopped at the president. There were 3 after, and there was no space to put it in the way it was displayed. So, like I said, 300, if that's okay. A motion. Can I get a motion on that?
So moved.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported for $300. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have to set a public hearing for the millage and the 21-22 budget. Now, I have tentatively scheduled a budget workshop for February 24th at 6:30. I went through the General Village Law Act. Currently, our fiscal year ends March 1st, March 31st. So I didn't find any ordinance that changed the date to March 31st. We're going to have to go, if we want to have time for a workshop, and, but we do have the option, and maybe Mr. Addis can confirm this, by ordinance to change our fiscal year.
Yes, I think you do.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to get your accounting people on board and your tax people on board and give them sufficient warning to get them ready, so it's not a problem with them to get it, okay?
Okay. I think maybe we can explore setting it for the July 1st date that so many other communities have. So that gives us a chance from January until May to set workshops, discuss capital improvements, and get a real budget in place that's going to satisfy what we're going to do, not only for the year, but maybe a 5-year arc. We should start planning for capital improvements and how to fund them. And we do that in the budgeting process, but right now the clock's ticking with the March deadline, so.
And for the department, just out of curiosity, did you look in the files or did you just look in E-code?
I looked at the files.
Okay.
Yeah, we went, Rob Pennell and I went through the files today, and there's nothing in there. I didn't find anything. Now, there are 2 ordinances missing, so I don't know if they just weren't passed or what, but we went through the files. So after this budget period now, I think that's something we can explore later on, setting it further up to July so that we have more time for budgeting. So the public hearing for the millage and the budget will be 6:30 before the March meeting, which will be on March 9th.
That's the public hearing on.
That's the public hearing to set the millage and the budget. And then we'll have the budget workshop on the 24th. So we'll have the information for March 9th.
President Bauer, do we have to vote on that?
Do I have a motion?
I move that we set the public hearing for millage and 2021-2022 budget for March 6th or March 9th at 6:30.
Support.
It's moved and supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Who supported that?
I did. Sorry, I'll be the
Okay, the sidewalk rehabilitation GET program. Do we have?
Yeah, Scott on the line.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening. As you guys know, we received a grant from Macomb County CDBG program for $150,000 last year. And based on the project schedule, we reduced final specs by March 30th. This is a CAP program, so that we reduce sidewalks. And as shown on the public hearing on Eden Ridge, Margot, Maine, and South. And we'd like the council to move forward preparing these plans for bidding as required by Macomb County.
Okay. So do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we allow our, that we authorize our village engineer to prepare the plans and specifications for the bidding process for the sidewalk rehab gap program for Hayden Ridge, Margot, Maine, and Roselle.
Second.
Properly moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Attorney items. Ordinance 376.
Correct. Ordinance 376, at the last meeting, we were authorized, and Mr. Kelly, showing what I think is on the feed here today, has put together those ordinances. They need to be moved package, they're in mine. The first one is 376, setting the officials' compensation. Maybe we change the wording to elected and added the word appointed, because we now have an appointed official receiving compensation. And the number was changed for the treasurer to $450 per month.
I just have questions. So you can appoint any position, any of those 4 positions,
No,
correct?
no, I don't believe so. That's not what that's for. The research was done some time ago because we were without a treasurer.
Right.
And so we ended up appointing a treasurer because no one ran for it. I don't believe that applies to, the appointment process applies to every official. I don't believe that's what we're trying to do with this ordinance.
That's what I wanted to make sure.
No, we're not doing that. Okay.
Any questions? Any additional questions?
If I understand correctly, just, sorry, the only changes are really just the and appointed and then the $450 per month for the treasurers, just what's in red.
That's correct.
And again, the appointment only lasts for 2 years until the next election, so. Okay, motion's in order.
I make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 376, an amendment to section 94-1 of the existing Village of New Haven ordinance number 332, intended to increase the compensation of the village treasurer and to add language to include appointed officials.
Support.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Meissen?
Yes.
Trustee Foley?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Polly?
Yes.
Trustee Bukowski?
Yes.
President Craigmore?
Yes. Ordinance 377.
Ordinance 377, as said in the first paragraph, before the record, an amendment to section 77-2B of the existing Village of New Haven ordinance number 110, intended to increase compensation of planning commission members and remove the proscription that planning commission members may hold no other municipal office. That again was discussed at the last meeting. We were instructed to change the ordinance and develop for you this ordinance number 377.
And I don't think we had conversation about increasing the planning commission pay.
There wasn't anything in the old ordinance about paying planning commission. That's why it was added.
I'm sorry, what?
There wasn't anything in the old ordinance about paying the planning
Oh, okay.
commission. That's why it was added at the same time as changing that.
Okay.
Well, and so this isn't actually setting the rate, right? This is just allowing us to set the rate.
Yes.
Right.
And
This is allowing you to set the rate.
And so setting the rate would be under a separate resolution.
But again, this was one of the ordinances that we have that was not in full compliance with applicable state and federal law, so we're just cleaning it up.
And if adopted, it will now be in compliance.
I move to adopt ordinance 377, an amendment to section 77-2B of the existing Village of New Haven ordinance number 110, intended to increase compensation of the planning commission members and remove the prescription that planning commission members may hold no other municipal office.
Support.
You got that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Got a roll call or?
No, there's no one to vote. Okay, ordinance 378, Parks and Recs, compensation. We discussed before how they were not receiving the monthly compensation that the planning commission was receiving. And I believe we had settled on a figure of $60 a meeting,
Correct.
which would be the same amount of money as our planning commission.
That's correct, and it's the changes in red again, the $60 per recreation board meeting as we were instructed. And the adoption will allow that to now take place.
I make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 378.
Wait,
Oops, sorry.
question on the motion.
So, what dictates the number of meetings that they can have a month? This doesn't limit the number of meetings, and I don't know if it needs to or not, but they could have 20 meetings, and it'd be $60 a meeting.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah. So they make it $60 per month?
Do we have something in ours for planning or council?
And what qualifies as, I mean, I know board, but like, if they're all there for a slow roll, is that then?
No meeting,
That's an event.
not an event, it's a
An
meeting.
event.
Yeah.
But the planning commission and Parks and Rec have set dates when they meet, and there's compensation for that meeting.
Right.
And any additional meetings, like we have workshops, we don't get.
Right.
So, you know, the understanding is for that 1 month, for that one meeting a month, they get paid $60.
Workshops we do.
No. No,
special meetings.
Workshops.
Special meetings, not workshops.
I thought we've gotten paid in the past when we did. Okay. Yeah, I understand your point. I think, in the case though that it having to be a recreation board meeting, that it would have to be, you know, they'd have to have a quorum. Whereas slow roll or an event like that isn't, they don't have quorum at those, I don't
He's
think.
saying they could schedule additional meetings.
They'd have to come, first they'd have to justify scheduling the additional meetings. They just don't arbitrarily hold meetings.
Yeah, I mean, if they were having a big event, I could understand them having a bunch of meetings.
But again, that has to be authorized.
Right, it would have to be authorized.
So,
Yeah, I definitely don't have a problem with the ordinance, this could read like there's room for abuse in it, but,
From
you
a
know,
practice.
what I don't know is our other rules yet, right? I don't know what the other procedural rules are that limit that, so that's why I asked the question, but, I'm in support,
It's a good question, though.
you know.
So who actually authorizes their meetings then? Is it,
they have to be
By
posted,
ordinance.
they have to be scheduled, and if they have to have an additional meeting for anything, they have to run a past meeting. So,
But it-
Doing it.
But is there anything that says if they unanimously decide to post it, that, like, how do we officially say that they absolutely can't?
no, we wouldn't.
For them to have a meeting and post it though, it would have to go through the village.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I, believe it or not, the people on Parks and Rec, God bless them, they're not gonna run wild with us. They're not gonna rack up thousands of dollars in meeting bills every month. So for the work that they do,
Right.
I think the $60 a month is the least we could do, so. Did we want to, table this until next month, and did you want to change any wording?
If you want to change it to make it clear and say $60 per meeting, one meeting per month, maximum, we can do that and have it available for the next
Well,
time.
then you're
Can we
gonna
say
get people that
$60
aren't gonna wanna
Or
join
you could
because
say
what if they do
$60 a
want
month on
to?
that own.
Yeah, and then it has to be straight across the board, about planning commission and other labels.
I mean, I think that kind of falls on the responsibility of the chair to be responsible for scheduling an actual meeting rather than just a
I
meeting for
might
fun.
add that in my experience, which is longer every day of things, but in my experience, I've never seen this become a problem. And that's not to demean any public servants, but these people, you know, they have to cut time out of their day and everything else, and I've yet to see someone schedule more meetings than they need for the sake of $60 or any other thing. So if you want to change it, certainly we can change it. I think we could wait to change it if it became a problem.
Okay. So do you,
I would adopt this as it is written here. That's what I would suggest.
okay. Do you have a-
Typically, if they're having a special event and they're gonna have extra meet, that becomes an ad hoc at that point, correct? Like it's a separate committee.
Well, yeah, it could be, like the 150th
Right.
was a separate committee.
Right. So if it doesn't even,
And that was on.
that's not connected to this. Okay.
Right.
Motion is in order.
I make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 378, an amendment to section 91-3, subsection C of the existing Village of New Haven ordinance number 339, intended to increase the compensation of the Recreation Board.
second?
It's been properly moved and supported. Can I get a roll call?
Trustee Myson?
Yes.
Trustee Bertoli?
Yes.
Trustee Polly?
Yes.
Trustee Bonkowski?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger? Yes. Trustee Guerrero?
Yeah.
President Tribor?
Yes. Approval of payment of bills.
I did send one out today for another bond that we received yesterday for $20,575.87 that we need to add to that.
$20,575.87.
Yes.
So what's the new total?
$677,676.73.
Okay, motion's in order.
I move that we pay the bills in the amount of $677,676.73.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Foley,
Yes.
trustee Meissen,
Yes.
trustee Guerrero, trustee Bellinger,
Yes.
trustee Colley,
Yes.
trustee Bankowski,
Yes.
President Tridemore.
Yes. Treasurer's report.
The total bill assets are at $5,693,002.16.
Make a motion that we receive and file the treasurer's report.
Support.
Moved and supported, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the financial signatories, did you have something in there?
I need to have my name on these accounts so that I can have access to them to share with Rachel and Sandy. I don't even know whose names are on them right now, but I think there has to be something in the minutes for me to take the minutes to the bank and show them that my name can be on it
You're not on it yet?
When we passed the original resolution, she wasn't yet appointed as treasurer, so it's just Tracy and I on the financial signatories resolution.
Okay.
So previously at Michigan Schools and Government, they just allowed us to take a motion with the minutes to who to add to the account. So it's just the Michigan Schools and Government. We're all set at Chase.
All right. So we need a motion to allow Amanda Stein on the Michigan School and Government Credit Union account.
So moved.
Well,
Support.
thank you for that.
I have a question though.
Yes.
So, Amanda mentioned that we're not sure who is on those accounts right now, so is that gonna be a secondary thing to find out who's on them and if we need to remove anyone?
No, we're not on them yet.
Oh.
It's still everybody else.
Oh.
I think that's the question is.
The motion needs to be to add Amanda, Tracy, and I to the Michigan Schools and Government and then remove everybody else.
Oh, none of them are on there yet.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Okay.
So
I
let's
make a
amend the
motion, I rescind my motion and I make a motion to add treasurer Amanda Stein, trustee Tracy Bankowski, and clerk Witset to the MSGCU financial signatories, and remove all others.
Second.
Properly moved and supported, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And Clerk Whitson, we'll be able to remove, when we go there, we'll be able to remove those other signatures at that time?
Yes, previously, Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union really worked with us and allowed me, when I was treasurer before, to fill out all the paperwork and bring it back and then take it back to them. So we didn't all have to try and get our schedules together again, was what a pain in the butt that was to Chase. But I'm hoping they'll do that again this time. But I guess Amanda will find out when she goes.
Thank you.
All right, clerk's items.
Agenda items for March 9th, are due by February 27th. I realize that's before the end of the month, so I'm a little flexible on that. Previously,
It's getting hot.
the MML has a parliamentary procedures training, and previously we would have them out here and they would give it in person. Obviously with COVID, everything's gone virtual. It was a 3-hour class when Coco would come here. It's now online, and they said that it's about a 90-minute thing now. And there's a cost discount now because of the less time and it's online, so there's not the travel fees. I think it used to be $1,500 with travel fees. It's now just $1,000, and anybody in the offices can attend. It's virtual, and it will give a little bit of understanding to meetings and what happens and the procedures and everything in what happens in meetings. So I just wanted to see if that was something that you'd like me to schedule, to get like the training together.
Okay, so you said the cost would be 1,000 virtually, and that would be everybody with the village, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
planning commission, parks and rec, the council, obviously, anybody that's serving in a position.
So they'd be able to do it from their home? Okay.
It's all virtual.
Okay. Council, what is your pleasure?
Maybe something good to wait until our new facility is up and running in case people felt more comfortable in person?
We could, but it's only 5 positions in the new training facility.
Okay.
And I'm gonna bet that more people,
That's fine.
yeah, want to attend.
Is there expiration time for that? Is there, like, is it like for a year, 6 months? Is there a time frame?
It's an in-person training, so it would be somebody sitting on the computer talking to us, so it's not like an on-demand webinar or anything. It would be, instead of her coming here, we would all Zoom into this training.
For a specific set time.
Yeah, it'd be a set time.
Okay, it'd be a set time that day. Got
You
it.
have to schedule.
Okay.
Now, would we be able to schedule this, we held the training before on a Saturday. Is that an option?
I can ask, I didn't ask about that. I just asked for a breakdown of the price and cost and everything.
Okay.
I can ask about, I can ask her about dates and I can get everybody's schedule and see what the best time would be.
Okay, why don't you ask her about the schedule, and maybe we can bring this back next month.
Okay.
And thank you for being there, President of the Commission. And then, you know, we would prefer probably on a Saturday because a lot of people work free, so.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, we've got unfinished business. That would be SYO proposal, village domain name. I know all of you got the quote, but it's been a couple of months. We got quoted for a 10-year domain registration, $350, for configuration and reconfiguring the email settings on the computers, cost of $500. So the total price would be $850, but if you want to go with .gov, it's an additional $3,000. It's $4,000 for the 10-year registration for .gov. For the regular .org, it's $350.
I know I brought it up many times, so I guess I'll just kick off the discussion. Like I've said in the past, I just believe that having the .gov is more official, gives you more credibility, more, the $4,000 does sound like a lot, but that's over a 10-year period, so, on a yearly basis, only $400. To me, $400 for the credibility and to be taken seriously when we're sending emails out and everything like that, to me, it's worth it. That's my opinion, at least.
So previously I supported that, but I started paying attention to the different municipalities that I work with from a work perspective. And I found quite a lot of them that are using the .org. And then I walked past my license plate the other day and it's Michigan.org on the back of it. And I feel like if the state is good enough with the .org for an official web address, then I don't know why the Village of New Haven, that wouldn't be satisfactory.
Yeah, I went through a list, we have 26 communities in Macomb County, and over 20 of them use the .org. Macomb County itself uses macombgov.org. So they put the gov in there, but they left it at org. So we have, I think it was Roseville, and I can't remember the other community, are the only two that still use the .gov. So,
Yeah, I went through the state, through Wikipedia and all the municipality websites, and admittedly it is, it's 50-50, whether it's .gov, .org, .net.
I didn't find a lot of .gov. You know what I found was the .net.
Yeah, there was even ones that are like real horrible. It was like .mi.us or something. I mean, it was even worse than what we have.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the, but I still haven't figured out where .net came from. That was different.
Yeah.
That was totally different. So I would like us to put this puppy to bed. Is there any other questions?
Were you able to shorten the name? That was the other thing that came up, was if we kept the .gov, were you stuck with the?
The hyphen, yeah, they can shorten it.
Yeah, they did say that we could do newhavenmi.gov.
Yeah.
So it'd be newhavenmi.gov or newhavenmi.org.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally think we should do before. Just 4,000 is still 4,000 in my book anyway,
Right.
so.
I agree.
Well, and I'm wondering if there's something else we could do with those dollars, maybe related to this technology subject. Whether it, put into enhancements on our website or something like that. That's my thought.
I think I'd have a hard time sitting down with somebody and say that we spent $4,000 to have, a .gov versus, I get exactly what Brian's saying, what Trustee Meeson is saying, but that's, kind of in the eye of the beholder. I think that, the trade-offs on it are,
Mr. President, I know we're supposed to wait for public comments, but while you're talking about this, New Haven, there's also a New Haven Township that we keep getting mail at the fire department for, so that's something you might want to just, look into while you're doing that. If you're going to shorten it from Village of New Haven to just New Haven, like I said, for some reason, we get this stuff for New Haven Township, which is, I don't even know where it's at, but it's not us. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but that should be looked at before you go too far.
Okay, we have three choices here. We can leave it the way it is. We can go .org or we can go .gov. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to accept the SYO proposal in the amount of $850 to adopt the newhavenmi.org domain.
Support.
It has been properly moved and supported. Do I need a roll call?
It's money, yes, and we probably should.
Okay, roll call.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Polly?
Yes.
Trustee Domkowski?
Yes.
Trustee Meisen?
No.
Trustee Guerrero?
No.
Trustee Perfoli?
Yes.
And President Pridmore.
Yes. And then we'll notify Jason about the change, and I'll let all of you know when it happens. We have nothing under new business. I'm surprised. And call from the floor. Do we have something?
We do have Representative Yaroch on the line. Jeff, if you want to, I believe you're unmuted. I believe you should be able to talk.
All right, thank you very much. It's not to update, to the our members here. Congratulations to all the you or returning council members and for all the work that's done in local government. I'm happy to be serving you for another 2 years. We're excited to and honored to do this. Just a few things I want to touch base on. vaccine that's available. The county capital got 7,000 doses. And there's not more people that Michigan Department of Health and Services opened up to a fairly large group of eligibility that there's vaccination. So basically covering so many people in health and the County Health Department is tracking the system. And we try to advise DHS of what's happening with that. The other issue is the Polk County, they're using what they're now using is a vulnerability index. So the multiplying vulnerability index for against the number of eligible people. So for example, Detroit has a 2.0 vulnerability index, and the Polk County is a 1.4. So they multiply that against the number of doses, and basically Detroit getting for the same population twice the number of doses we are based on the vulnerability index. So the people are asking where regarding the vaccine, one we're short, and again, Polk County, we are affected by the vulnerability index that the DHS will have. I will actually just leave off to say, just a reminder that when we come to local government, absolutely, I've said this before, but I'm sort of repeating it, is that as being clear in my office, that we're here to help local government, we want to be a good partner. One of my frustrations with state government was not being good partners, and I continue to push on many of the department heads that I will work with about just being better partners with local government and not have this parent-child relationship with local government, as well as we're all city residents and we should be working together as a team within our role. So again, if any of you have questions or concerns, you're more than welcome to reach out to my office. I'm happy to give you a call and ways that you can get issues with MDOT or federal or what have you. Please feel free to reach out. When I was on city council, I never realized, not to get my predecessor, but I really felt that someone didn't feel like we should be called representative as much as we could have or we should have. And I really realized how much of a resource our state legislators could be for local government. So feel free to reach out. Sorry if I overran my 2 minutes, but I wish you the best.
Thank you, Representative Yarosh.
Call from the floor.
Do we have anybody else on the Zoom meeting who would like to talk?
Okay, and then call from the table.
You gave us this Lombardo information in our box.
Yeah.
So is this the information they provided to you, or these notes that you guys took?
The information they provided.
This big agency?
Yeah, I just wanted to keep you guys aware of
Okay,
what.
no, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I just wanted to know what perspective was coming from that.
Yeah. That was great, but.
Yeah, this is good. This is good information.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
What was that information?
The one sheeter that Greg from Lombardo passed out when we met, it's a one sheet.
Okay, I will check my box again.
Yeah, it's nice.
I didn't remember that.
Didn't have it.
I put the copy in one slide. If you need another copy, I'll run one out for you. No problem.
And I'm asking this question in preparation. Thursday, we're going to be having a second planning commission meeting this month. And I struggled personally, I can't speak for everyone, I'm going to speak for myself, and I'll use Mr. Yarrow just talked to us, and I'm not really sure what he said, because I really couldn't, I'm just being honest, I really couldn't hear him. So in preparation for Thursday, being that we're going to do the Zoom again, what can we do so that we are all hearing everything anybody that's participating from the outside? Because I'm assuming our attorney will be here in person, but the engineer, the petitioner, and possibly the public. So does anybody have any?
You know what, we're doing the best we can. Brian went out and got another audio cord, was it?
Yeah, we have a cable that we're using, so we're actually getting everybody's microphone inputted into the Zoom meeting.
Right,
And it
I'm
depends-
not hearing that.
Right,
so-
yeah, so I think probably, the only way that we can really ensure that you can hear, would be to have like a headset or something on Thursday, or that you could plug into your, tablet while
Okay,
you're on the Zoom meeting.
okay, I will do that.
Unfortunately, this always depends on also the device they're using.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, and yeah,
Go.
maybe I'll shoot the partners an email suggesting that as well. Thank you.
I know I have seen, one registration so far for Thursday for, one of the Meadow Creek representatives being, one of
Right,
the
yeah,
petition-
that's the petitioner, so.
Right, one of them is planning on being remote through the Zoom. Well, I would assume they're planning on being remote through the Zoom since they did register.
Right.
So if she did headphones you wouldn't be able to do it through the whole meeting though, because if I have them on now, there'd be a delay between what I hear in my headphones and you sitting right next to me, right?
I don't know, in all honesty.
When I did that here, that's why I hung up, because I had a delay, I was hearing an echo, even though I was in my
Right,
noise
right.
canceling. So I was on that meeting as a citizen, right, so, because I've got a vested interest personally in that, right, but I think that this is kind of what's this is the same issue, right, so we're all fine here, but it's one-on-one with the audience, so it seems to me the smart thing to do is have everybody on the Zoom meeting, not a mix and match, right? So I think that having anything in person, because I know there was at least 3 people that wanted to say something in the public comment, and it never went past the one individual that was in the room,
Right, we found that out after.
right? So we never got to say, oh, the public comments didn't exist, well, it happened, it was a technology thing, it wasn't an intentional thing, obviously, but had we all been on Zoom, nobody would have been quick to hang up here, so I don't know, it seems to me the easier thing is you either do Zoom, or you don't, and I know with these meetings, it's maybe a little different with, with the council meeting, but just, I would offer the perspective as well, it was really difficult, I think, to interact as it's going to be, probably for everybody, but there was a lot of emotion behind that, and then, there was obviously the Facebook thing, 178 comments, there was a whole discussion that happened after that as well, where, I don't know, I think that it's either, there has to be a conscious effort to do like Brian does and engage everybody out there, and then that's still that hearing piece is just hard.
Right. The problem, I shouldn't say problem, the roadblock we're gonna have is we do have to have a closed session, so we can't do that via Zoom.
Right.
So-
That's true, yeah.
Right, so I'm wondering, would we be able to come and have the closed session, and then maybe, but we couldn't all Zoom at the same time?
Right.
You could if you were in different rooms in the.
Are there 7 rooms here that we could all camp out in?
there's a room for closed session that you can utilize, but, and Mr. Addis can advise us on this, I think we have to open the meeting, you have to open the meeting first.
Right.
You have to vote, roll call vote to go into closed session.
Yeah.
Maybe if there is the delay, because, I'm turning the volume up on my computer, so maybe if you had somebody that's on this side of the table and somebody on that side of the table, both turn up their volume, that then it might be slightly off based off of delay with, connection
I was sitting right
speeds.
next to Tracy, and she still couldn't hear, and it was the delay, and then the echoing, even if somebody was over here, and I was sitting in where Miss Pridemore was, to get everybody to hear, but
Yeah.
these and,
But is there a way you can tap your audio out into these speakers up here through that?
There probably is if we had an additional cable. Well, yeah.
Because I mean, if you could do that, that's
got a big box.
your speakers to us, so.
Well, and actually, yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe we could do
I
a
don't know.
little test after or something?
Yeah.
Because that's all audio.
I don't know if we're gonna have a solution by Thursday, unfortunately.
Okay.
Unfortunately, given the times and the state mandates and everything else going on, we have to make do with what we can. And if there's a hearing problem, just try to do the best you can. That's all we can ask, and hopefully, at some point, there'll be an end to this, and we can all meet in person and have everybody come back into the room. But I think we're just gonna do the best we can for the Thursday meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other call from the table?
I had a quick question, Mark. When you were participating through Zoom or through, oh, you were on the Zoom, never mind.
Yeah, I was on Zoom.
Because I know there's a huge delay for the people participating through the link on Facebook. It's like a minute
is,
delay.
Facebook is
I use the
very
Zoom app.
I remember seeing you in the Zoom, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, I don't believe that was on Facebook.
It wasn't.
What happens if you had one computer that did one mic and then one speaker? So you have that camera here that everybody is on. Now everybody that's on the Zoom has the audio through the speakers, and then everybody would hear through the computer through your mics and speakers in here.
Yeah, instead of all of us having individual.
One computer would solve all your problems.
Right. Yeah, if we, instead of everybody having their own.
Yep. Because you won't get that feedback.
Yeah. Well, right now, I mean, like, this meeting seems like it worked pretty well as far as, you know, there was no audio feedback. It was just trying to hear Sir Matt and Representative Yarosh. I think, you know, if we, I'm really thinking that if we did have a couple of computers, but I mean, I guess you were saying no, even right next to.
Yeah, because I kept having to hit the mute and unmute just so we could hear when people were talking, but every time I was unmuted, there was feedback, so we was having a hard time hearing the petitioners that were talking.
For Thursday's meeting, I don't remember if I have anything going on or not. If I don't, I can try to make it a point to come here and help coordinate with whoever's on site to make sure that we don't have this, or maybe I just host the meeting here instead of hosting it at home.
That would be appreciated if you can do that.
Yeah, because I mean, at least I have this set up and I know how this is working, so.
Trustee Kelly, do you have something?
Yeah, so prior to the budget workshop, I guess I want to level expectations on what I'm going to try to do before then. So I haven't gotten anything back from Sandy just yet, so I'm probably going to have to kind of push that agenda a little bit this week to find some time to sit down with her. Is she available on the weekends to meet up here? Do I? No? Okay. So I guess my expectation is to translate, prior to the workshop, is to have some slides, to translate what's going to be, as far as the budget discussion goes, into some slides. Does that sound, is that the expectation that you all would like to see there?
That would be great, Mark.
Yeah, I'm going to try, because I've done that in the previous support I did to the council, so I'll sit down with her, because I'm also, so I'm both the last meeting and this one, I struggle a little bit following the agenda into the budget and reconciling it back and forth. And I'm sure it makes perfect sense to her, maybe to the treasurer, but I can't find all the numbers. And I think I'm hopeful that will translate into maybe a different way to present this out here. I'm voting on stuff that I can't trace back inside the budget. And, you know, I just want to be able to see those numbers and you know, anyway, so that's what I'll try to do prior to that. And the hope would be that I would imagine in that workshop, we're going to refine that product to be part of the public discussion for the budget moving forward, right? So we have a set of user-friendly slides to say, arguably, this is what we bring in, this is what we give out, this is what we get to execute or play with in the middle. When you start pulling it out, it's not quite as big as everybody might think it is, right? There's not, as I'm seeing it, there's not all this trade space in there that somebody might think is there. So does that sound like where I need to go?
Yeah, the Sandy will be here, and we can really nail down the figures you need for the presentation. And I did a webinar about municipal finance, and they had some really good information on what you need for a budget presentation. And I've got the link to it, and if you want, I could just throw it at you if you've got spare time, kind of go through it. And they give you good information on what should be in a budget presentation and what doesn't have to be in a budget.
Well, that report you guys gave me last time at the meeting, the audit,
Yeah.
that helped a lot, because there's a lot of stuff that tries to make easy of, you know.
And they reference that in that webinar to pull out your yearly audit. There's a lot of good information.
So there's a lot of stuff in there that we can make into a monthly deliverable, if you will, that'll make it easy to present the data and say, this is what you're actually voting on. I don't know. So I'll push it forward.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay. I just wanted very quickly first to apologize to everybody that was not able to come physically into the meeting. We are trying to navigate what the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services is saying about meetings. And there's conflicting information, but, you know, I think we're definitely reduced down to X amount of people in a room and having, you know, more people in the audience. If we want to have in-person council meetings, then we have to do the audience participation in Zoom, but we're staying on top of this because we want to go back to an open meeting as soon as possible. This isn't easy on any of us, and it's certainly not easy on the residents that would like to come and listen to what's going on. I'm really worried that in this whole process, we're going to disenfranchise some people, and I really want us, hopefully we can get back to normal, you know, relatively soon. As far as the picture gallery, I am going to be doing some community outreach. There's been some very angry people about the pictures being removed, and I want to assure them the idea is to put the pictures back up and enhance the setting. It's not to, you know, erase history, it's not to remove the pictures, it's to put the presidents that came in after the last picture up there, to give them the credit they deserve for public service, and also to show visitors to our building the history of our community. So I think that is just as important as putting the public servants that serve the community in an honorable fashion up on the wall in a place of honor. So I'm looking forward to getting copies of the pictures made, and then if anybody in the public would like to come in and give us ideas on how to set it up on the gallery wall, shoot me an email. We can arrange a time once we get the pictures done to come in, and it would be great to work with the community on a public display that is really going to introduce New Haven to people that come to the building. So that being said, anybody else have a call from the...
Sorry, I have a few more, couple items that I wanted to talk about. One, I wanted to give a shout out, and I apologize because I don't remember the lady's name, but there was recently a post on Facebook in New Haven's community group about the little libraries that have been put up through the village. There's 3 of them, one here at the front entrance, one at, I believe it was Haven Ridge Park, and I think there was a third one, and I apologize, I can't really remember where the third one was. But I, you know, to the person and everybody that was involved that put that together, that's awesome. I think that's really cool. I thought maybe we could actually put those locations on our village website just to, you know, promote it and provide more visibility. And on that note of the website, I know that the website, you know, came up in the workshop, and I apologize I was unable to attend. I definitely, please, if you guys have ideas, if you have thoughts about the website, let myself or Genevieve Rodzik know. Over the years, I've kind of transitioned into being the council person with the website. Previously, it was Trustee Chandler, and we haven't ever really gotten a lot of direction on what needs to be on the website and what doesn't need to be on the website. Genevieve actually just found that there was a Sterling Heights Chamber of Commerce that we were linking to for some reason, and nobody could figure out why. So if there's things you want on the website, if there's things you want changed, if there's stuff, we just had Revise do the redesign last year. So, you know, we've tried to update it and bring it a little bit more current, but by all means, the links and everything they need some work. So, you know, please, if you see things, let us know. We can work on that. That's it.
Okay.
Can I piggyback that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So you guys got my message about Mystery Solved. Right.
Yeah.
Which, and that's fine. I think that would be the right person, whoever is called the webmaster. It would go
Sure.
from there. But as I mentioned about the email, I have a problem with the email account that it's going to. I think it needs to go to an official village email account. Because, as I explained, if for some reason she isn't participating anymore, now we don't have access to that. So I'm not sure how everyone else feels about that.
I think that'd be a good idea. Once we have the .org domain set up with the email, maybe we could ask SYO to do like webmaster at, you know, New Haven MI or.
And then different people could review it and catch the
Right.
information. Or if it's water billing, refer to the person that does the water billing.
We could even have the email address just automatically forward to others, but yet still house the email, or,
Okay.
you know, so you'd still have a record of the email coming in, but yet it would still forward to Genevieve, so then, or it could forward to Genevieve and I, or, you know, President Bridemore or whoever.
Yeah, I think we need to forward it to somebody that's working in the office, because they're not up for reelection every 2 years.
Right.
So I think we need stability in it. But Genevieve was great. She fixed 2 of my emails that were shooting out into space, and she's been really good about helping out with the website.
Yeah, she does a lot for the website.
And one more very quick thing, I asked Genevieve, as a matter of fact, to post on our website, residents are able to pay their water bills using their banks if they contact their financial institution to make sure that they can forward an email or an e-check to the village. I just did it for the first time this month. I used the Michigan School and Government Credit Union account that I have. I paid the village early. When I got the water bill, I immediately scheduled it to be paid. It took 10 days and it went through. So you can use bill pay with most financial institutions. If you're going to try it, call them up, make sure you can do it. It took 10 days to process, but if you don't want to drop off a check, or we're not accepting in-person water bills right now, I encourage, the Genevieve posted on the village website, because I don't think that option was really put out there as an option. So now it's on the village website as well. So, but it does have to be scheduled earlier than just, you know.
PUC is a 3-day turnaround, but I can schedule it out. Like if I schedule it today, I can schedule it for the 19th and it'll send it by the 19th.
But it took about 10 days for mine to go through. And I talked to Melissa and she said that's the average. It takes 10 days.
Yeah, mine's 3 days. If I schedule it now, the earliest I can do it is 3 days from now.
Yeah, but you're a different bank, and that's why I'm encouraging everybody to reach out to their own financial institution. But it worked for me, so I don't have to worry about dragging the envelope in there and stick it in the box, so.
Who has checks anymore?
Yeah,
This is literally, the water bill is literally the only check that my house writes.
I write taxes. I write checks for taxes, but that's it, so. Any other call from the floor, or from the table?
I assume that it just came in too late to be on there, but we did receive that appraisal. Will we be going over that?
March.
Yep.
We'll be going over that in March. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Probably moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Stay warm, folks. It's going to get sub-zero this weekend.